coordinator Byron Leftwich. A source confirmed to ESPN today the decision to fire Leftwich after 4 seasons as the team's offensive play caller was the first major personnel move made by Todd Bowles since he became head coach on March 30th. Now, the Bucs went 8-9 this season, winning the NFC South, but fell short of their expectations after a 31-14 loss to the Dallas Cowboys in the wild card round on Monday night. Dan, I will start with you. What's your reaction to the firing of Byron Leftwich?
Yeah, totally needed for this organization. You know, Molly, I tweeted out and I said after watching that game Monday night, I don't know how you could watch what happened in Tampa this season and then rewatch that game that happened on Monday night and not think, man, we got to start all the way over in Tampa. So this was necessary. I've said this for, I feel, 3 years. This is one of the least creative offenses in the NFL. I remember even in 2020 when they won the Super Bowl, I said they are so dependent on high-level execution. They do very little to help their players. Now, they adjusted throughout the season and into that playoff run, and they were super talented, and that's why they got it done. But this offense is so behind in so many different ways when it comes to new age football. It's in many ways archaic. It's very little motion. They don't do anything that they're good at. I feel like they major in the things that they're bad at. I will say this, and I have no information on this at all. This is just my assumption. I find it odd that this is just a Byron thing. I can't imagine Tom doesn't have pretty significant input into their offense. I could be dead wrong on that. But the way that their offense is just played, how disconnected the run game is from the pass game, it's almost like coaches don't even talk in their building. So, necessary move.
Yeah, it's a little harsh, Danny, a little harsh. I mean, last year they had a very good offensive year. They almost beat the Rams. They were down whatever it was. They came storming back. They only averaged 17 points this year, whatever it was, so I'm not going to scream that he got a raw deal. I'm not going to go crazy on that, but I will be. And they had a bad 2-point conversion play against Green Bay. They were all confused. That was a big play in that game. And that was everybody was talking about that play. I can't argue with the decision. I don't know if Brady's got anything to do with it because Brady's not there right now. It's hard for me to believe that Brady is deciding who the offensive coordinator is going to be when he doesn't even know he wants to play yet. Yeah. So I don't think Brady has anything to do with it. I'll buy the idea that, you know, maybe a change was necessary. Little harsh. About how bad the offensive creativity is.
Listen, obviously we're going to get into the NBA. I've been teasing it all morning, so we have Jay Will here, and I know he's champing at the bit to get in on this. Your reaction to Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator, being fired by Tampa Bay, first reported by Tampa Bay Times, confirmed by ESPN.
I'm curious, Dan, that, you know, and you're the football expert. I just talk about it for 6 hours a day on our show in the morning. And it's fascinating to me, though, like when this team is last in the league in rushing yards per game, when their O-line is injured and you get a guy like Ryan Jensen back, you know, during the actual playoff game, and you're watching the lack of mobility around Tom Brady, I get how the offense looks, right? But why does all that fall on Byron Leftwich for a guy that's won multiple divisional titles and last year was one of the hottest coaches on the market, even up for the Jaguars job before Doug Peterson got it? It's like when things go really, really well, it's all Tom Brady. And all of a sudden when Tom Brady doesn't do well, then somebody needs to fall on the sword. And that automatically makes me think something even deeper here because I'm starting to sniff it out. Like, is Tom actually coming back? Because to me, I've always felt that Tom and Byron have had an interesting relationship. And is this a sign that Tom Brady is not going to come back? Because it seemed like they were ride or die partners, which is one of the reasons maybe why Bruce Arians got kicked upstairs. Just a thought.
Well, no, I think ride or die partners like Jordan and Anissa last night in the challenge when they dogged walk Amber and Chauncey. I'm with you, Jay. Listen, and Mad Dog, you thought I was a little harsh. This is the reality. And people who've watched me or NFL Live for 3 years, I'll go back to the Super. And that's why I said, Jay, like, I don't know if it's just a Byron thing, okay? Because if I was, I'd be like, Tom, what do you want to do? Let's just do all the stuff that you want to do. So I can't imagine it's just, I'm going to build the offense, and Tom, you get no say. Again, that's me living in an assumption world. The Super Bowl year, I remember vividly watching this offense and going, they're ruining Tom Brady right now. I said that on television. As the year went on, I thought they lived in way more play action. If you guys remember the Super Bowl one, they went on a ton of play action pass, and that helped their offense tremendously. Context of their offense matters as well, Mad Dog and Jay. Like, so Tom threw for like 50 touchdowns and 45 touchdowns, played it at an incredibly high level. Mike Evans, Hall of Fame wide receiver. Chris Godwin's as good as a number 2 wide receiver as there is in football. Rob Gronkowski was still playing at a high level and Hall of Famer. They had the best offensive line in football in 21 in 2020. The best. They got a right tackle who's one of the best right tackles in football. Jensen's one of the best centers in football. They had 2 of the best guards in football, and Donovan Smith was playing very well. So yes, their offense was good, but it was immensely talented as well. But there was very little done when it comes to scheme to take the talent and take it to the next level. They executed for stretches really well. But I sit there this year, Jay, and I talked about they can't run the football, but why do we continue to run the football? I said almost weekly I felt bad at my job because I would say, Tampa Bay, you need to run more play action. They didn't. So, like, I get where you're coming from, Jay, but the reality is it's a production-based business. We all know that. And their offense was bad this year. It wasn't great last year when it comes to we have this talent, let's make it play better.
I hear you, Dan. I just think, you know, it's interesting. Regardless, they finished sub 500. They won the division. They made it into the playoffs. I mean, even watching, I hear what you're going to say about expectations are always to win the Super Bowl. And I get that when Tom Brady's dropping back to throw the ball 66 times. But you talk about creativity, like, can Tom Brady's game right now handle the new creativity for where the NFL is going? Because every other quarterback I see right now in the playoffs, they're extremely mobile. They can get out of harm's way. I don't know if Tom's game can actually do that. So to sit up here and say that Tom doesn't have a heavy influence on the offense, at the end of the day, who's allowing him to do that? The organization.
I don't know if he does or
That's
doesn't.
why I don't know why Byron Leftwich just falls on the sword.
Yeah, I don't know if Tom has influence on the offense. I would assume, but I don't know. I would assume.
Dan, we're going to say the GOAT doesn't have influence over the offense?
I would, like I said, Jay, I assume that he would, but I can't say unequivocally that he does.
Because we don't
assumption.
even know for sure he's coming back next year, right? So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well played.
Can we get to the NBA debate that I've been teasing all morning? Okay, Steph Curry with the shot, having another sensation.
Here you have the MVP candidate through the first 14 or 15 weeks. We haven't really seen the full Jalen Hurts for a month. It's a great unknown. It's the great drama of this weekend. How will Jalen Hurts play, and how will that shoulder react after getting hit? Everybody on that panel will tell you, who's an athlete, knows that a shoulder injury like that is easily re-injured. So it's very important to watch how Jalen Hurts reacts after he gets hit.
Stay with me, Sal. I want to keep you here for the conversation, but let me bring this to the table. Yesterday, Rob Ninkovich, and you played defense a long time in the NFL. When I asked Chris Canty, how will the Giants approach this game? He said to me, Greeny, they're going to check his oil. What does that mean, and how will they do it?
Huh? Well,
don't look at me.
I would drop some weight on him. Like,
check his oil.
Right.
Is that not a
that's basically what he was saying.
Yeah, you're going to check him. You're going to make sure that his shoulder is healthy enough to sustain. But
how?
When he's a running back, he's a running back. He's out of that quarterback protection bubble. Once he puts that ball down in his hands like this and he's going forward, you're going to wrap him up, and similar to how he was injured, like the defender literally just dropped on top of him. So you're going to have guys want, okay, you're back, you're on the field, you're putting your helmet down like you want to be a running back. We're going to hit you like a running back.
So this is what it comes to. He has the protection. We all saw the ridiculous flag that Dexter Lawrence got in the game against Kirk Cousins the other day. He has that protection when he's a passer. But when he's running with the football, which when he's at his most effective, he does a lot, Bart, there is no such protection. They're going to land on him and make sure that shoulder can handle it.
Well, that's the key. Like, we want to know if that element is not in their game, then that really takes a whole package out of our play, because we have to have it organized. Are we going to crash down? Are we going to get up the field? Are we going to slow play? If that's not an element that we have to worry about, then it allows us to really play a lot faster because we take it away. But what we would say, and people don't like to hear it, we would say don't let them fall, right? Because what's better than one hit? 5. So when you get him, wrap him up. They're not going to blow the whistle because he's a guy that can break out of tackles. Everybody come get some. Everybody get a lick. We're going to hold him up, and let's see if we can take some shots on his arm.
Well, that's another thing, too. When they're running that option play, as an outside linebacker, defensive end, you can either slow play that or you can fast play that, and you can change that up. So if you're running this read option type play, and instead of crashing, you just say, I'm going to go hit his upfield shoulder.
And it's a coordination.
I'm going to go get him, and everyone understands, okay, this play we're going to hit him, next play we're going to slow play.
So if I were to say, Damian Woody, that I feel like the entire game comes down to this. The Eagles are a better team than the Giants if Jalen Hurts is most of himself. They were the best team in the NFL this year when he was most of himself. But if he is compromised, If he isn't able to do all of these other things that he does besides throwing the football, this feels to me like it becomes pretty close to a dead-even game. Is that overstating it?
No, it's not overstating it because the quarterback design runs are such a huge part of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. It's what makes their offense so dynamic. When you have, and we always talk about when you talk about the running game, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between 10 on 11 and 11 on 11 when you got a quarterback that